All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're bringing you the perfect attribute numbers for your build, and it is going to be a good one. Today, we're going to focus on finishing, but we do have playmaking, shooting, defense, and even the physicals to break down. So lock in and get this right. Here we are. Okay, so starting off from the top, we have close shot. And I want to just say before we get started, this is going to be on your play style. None of these attributes are must haves. Everything I'm talking about depends on what you play like. Now, if you already made a build, you can start realizing, hey, maybe I need to focus upgrading this first or that. But if you're making a new build, this is going to be very critical for you as well. So lock in and let's go. So when you look at close shot, right, it's an important attribute, and people sleep on this when it comes to smaller guards. When you get the ball down low and maybe they stop you from the drive, or you get a rebound, or there's any reason you're in there, this is going to be critical. Standing shots are very, very important. 10 feet from the rim will help you do everything you can in there. With that in mind, let's upgrade this to a 60 to start off. And the reason for this is very important to understand. It's a simple reason for this. Okay, if you look at the actual attributes on the right, and they're pretty big here, so I'm going to open this up even more, just enough so you guys can see. Put it on the middle of the screen. I'm going to double this up so you can see it twice. This right here has pro touch, all right, on gold. Okay, on gold, for any build, if you're going to end up with like a 54 just because you're a shooting guard or a guard and you don't care, you can get it to 60. That's going to help you. Okay, you want to do that regardless if it's necessary. But again, this is only if you have the extra badges, and this is where a lot of variables come into play about what type of build you're creating and what you're doing as you go forward. Okay, that in mind, we're going to continue to upgrade this to kind of showcase some things. So now, first and foremost, there are different requirements that you can meet for this badge. For example, at 70, you're going to get, once again, a very good value in gold pro touch. That's going to be critical. Pro touch is probably one of the best badges this year. Layups, close shots, everything is counting on this. So you want to be able to utilize it at the best possible. So I would say if you time your layups well and pro touch is good, you want to focus on that. And I want to stay on pro touch as a conversation piece. As you can see right here, we're going to upgrade it all the way up to Hall of Fame, and that's at 80. Okay, so now depending on what type of play style you have, for example, if you're in the paint and you're trying to do standing shots or anything like that, this can be a really great value. Now, there's ways to trick the system where you will upgrade close shots, but mostly only to get gold touch. But really, you're trying to be a post player for hooks, and then we'll get into post control later. But that's not necessarily the only reasons. If I can upgrade driving, layup, and close shot, I'm going to have a very powerful build in the paint, even if I'm standing or driving with this two combined together. So that's something that's important to think about. I don't need to go higher than an 80 here, and I can maybe go up with my layups and combine them, which will basically allow me to be overpowered on both sides, right? Since now I have Hall of Fame layups, and then I can go put on these very cool things. And now when I'm in the paint down there, I'm going to be able to do some work. Okay, the size of this build and all that stuff doesn't matter. This is strictly for any build, and I'm just breaking that down. We're going to get into some more things, but an 80 is really good. But the last one, and this is strictly for big men, most likely, a 90 for gold fast twitch. This is important. All right, this is one of the most important badges for a big. You don't need to have this badge depending on your play style, but if you're going to be down there getting rebounds, putting putbacks, or maybe just posting people up in the paint, you want a very high fast twitch, and this will give you a gold. Anything past this is where the conversation of like, is it worth it to go to 99? It's going to cost you a lot of attributes. And the 99 conversation, I'll say this off rip, every single attribute costs too much for the most part to get to 99. If it's not your main way to play, it is not necessary to go to 99. Okay, so close shot looks good here. And sure, we want that, but we have to understand that just because it's 99 doesn't make it worth it. Okay, so depending on your play style, that's an important thing to note. So I'm gonna finish off the close shots there. That again is determined by if you're a big man. Now for the guards, and this is more focused on you guys, for the guards and for anybody trying to drive, okay, if you're slashing, this is where the party starts for you. And again, another easy number to start with is 60. Again, you're gonna get silver pro touch, which is very useful. If you're really not gonna be a layup guy, but you wanna have a little bit, then put this on something else. You can do that with a 60. You should be fine, okay? Then you go up to a 70. Guess what? You got even more gold pro touch. I keep talking about pro touch because these are the two specific areas. And we go to an 80, and then you get pro touch on Hall of Fame. It's worth having at least at this height if you're going to be doing a lot of layups. But what's cool that I personally like, if you're going to be doing layups, you want to be overpowered, a 91. And that's going to give you Hall of Fame and gold, things like slithery finisher, acrobat, bunny, which is the hop step. You have scooper, which is extremely powerful this year. You have floater game, spin cycle, and two steps. These are critical badges if you're going to be slashing. And depending on how you play, maybe you don't want one or the other, right? And we want to lower a specific thing. But to me, a 91 would be the way to go if you want to be a great driving layup player. And then after that, we're going to talk about how you can get the rest of these on Hall of Fame. But again, it's going to cost you a lot. 97 gets you most of them on Hall of Fame that you would want. But is it worth having 99? I don't think so. Okay, so 97 at best, or 98. 97, so you can have slithery also on Hall of Fame. That pretty much gives you all of the driving layups. But 91 is the best value because you're not going to cost yourself everything you have from there. Okay, so just understand that's critical this year not to go overboard. You can do your job. Now, if you're just want to maximize, like, I don't care, I'm just going to do a crazy build with 99 on something. We're going to have breakdowns on that at the end of how to display some things and going forward. Now, this is the big one, the one that you're probably here for, and the most important one for anybody that's trying to dunk. Driving dunks, critical. So I have multiple builds, a center build. I have a small guard who basically only has 50. Okay, he's a 6'3" with 50, and he can dunk very well on fast breaks, on cuts to the basket. When I get open and I get a lane to the basket, I'm driving and doing dunks with the 50. This unlocks a bunch of animations. You do need to have a little bit of vertical, and we'll get into that in a minute, but 50 is more than enough. With a 65, you will unlock even more, Mono Ginobili and a bunch of other great animations that will allow you to dunk, okay? But a 50 is more than enough. If you're trying to save on attributes and you just want to be dunking enough just to get the job done, you can go with 50, all right? That's important to note, and that's how to start your build from there. Then after that, again, I guess 65 has Mono Ginobili and a couple of other great animations that are solid for you to go there. A lot of people have been doing 75 specifically for a standing straight hand dunk that's really decent, and we'll get into some of that in a minute. But with that, you have to have the right vertical as well that we'll get into in just a second. But the number one spot that a lot of people have been doing is the LeBron James driving dunk animations at a 85. This is going to be very critical if you're really going in for some dunks and you want to go crazy. But guess what? There's 87, 2, 3 more above for you to get contact dunks. This is critical And don't sleep on contact dunks. They're very important in the game. And then of course of this is where I stand at a 94 on one of my builds. This gives me pro and elite contact dunks. Of course, I have to have my vertical up. I have it at an 83 specifically to be able to really get everything unlocked. But this is super critical and very important. So if I just turned up my vertical, you'll see that things just get very interesting right here. And I'm missing a couple attributes here. I'm going to turn this up. And what you're going to see now, if we're going to take a moment out of the 94, and going any higher than this, like I said, it was all about if you really want to go crazy. But if you could see, I have gold posterizer, slithery on Hall of Fame, gold precision dunker. They're going to be fixing this precision dunking for driving dunks soon. You got bunny on Hall of Fame, two-step and spin cycle on Hall of Fame. That is more than enough to go crazy out there. Trust me, I got my build at 6'8", and that was my first build I made. I made sure that I had all these dunk and things like that. Now, going to 99, all right, we're going to turn this up. You get Hall of Fame badges galore, which is great, but it will cost you a lot. Look at the build. I have not upgraded a lot of areas. I actually didn't even upgrade anything other than drive and dunk and vertical just to have enough. And it upgrades naturally on its own. It upgrades all the other values. So I'm already at 70 overall for a 99. Now, what do you get for 99? You get posterizer on Hall of Fame. It's the most important badge, right, for dunking. But with a gold, I can get that all the way down here at a 94. So why would I go crazy? Actually 93, but I can do it at 94 because I want to be able to have the elite contact dunks as well. So why would I go to 99 just for that one Hall of Fame badge? Well, I'm sorry, 2 Hall of Fame badges, which is going to be precision dunker as well. That's where you have to decide. Am I just going to be a pure dunker? Every play you have to go for dunks because that's going to be your number one attribute. Then you can do a secondary move, which this is where your build style would be, okay, all I'm going to do is dunk. So I'm going to keep driving. And then when they stop my drive, I'll come back for the 3 or the mid range and do something along those lines to kind of counter it. Okay. And this is where you have to make a sacrifice for your build. And if you already made the sacrifice, play within the power of your build. Respect your build is what I like to say. That's my number one saying with people is play the way your build is made for. If it's high on threes, shoot a lot of threes. If you're good at driving dunk, do a lot of driving dunk. Okay. Focus on what the build is good at. Okay. That's my recommendation. But again, we're going to get into at the end of this video. It's going to be a little long, but I'm going to combine some things to teach you guys a little something. Now, we're going to standing dunks. This is probably my specialty, guys. I've been the one creating this for a few years now, where standing dunks, you only meet the requirements to get the animations. Okay. At a 45, every build. All right. I got a 6'3" non-finishing build who's basically shooting threes and mid ranges all game. But if he needs to, he can standing dunk from under the rim. He can drive and dunk with what I told you with a 50. With a 45, you don't unlock 2 dunk animations, standing dunk animations that are critical for the game, in my opinion. Now, if you really want to show off and get a little wild, a 65 will get you some rim hang dunks. Are there better? There's a debate, and I will have a video breaking that down, which one is better, because I have both. Is the 65 worth it more than the 45? At this time, no. I do like the rim hangs. They're okay, but they're not necessary. And that's just the honest truth, okay? And I don't want to discourage you from doing a 65 because if you have the attributes and you want to add it. But what I'm saying is if you don't really have a lot of attributes and you put them everywhere else, 45 is a good starting point for every build. I don't care what build you made. There isn't a build that shouldn't have 45 on it because it doesn't cost much as far as attributes. And you're getting 2 dunk animations. Well, more than 2, but you're unlocking 2 specifically. Then you go to 65. That's going to give you 2 more rim pull standing dunks. Okay. Is that important? Not necessarily, like I said. But from there, This is going to be a very steep hill where you got to get up to the 81 area so that you can unlock precision on silver. Is it worth it? No. Maybe you have standing driving dunks high, so you won't need this to be an 81. But if you're a pure center, this is where you got to turn up and at least, at minimum, have a 90 driving dunk. Personally, a 92, so you can have fast twitch on gold, and it's going to help you big time. As you can see, I have it on gold right here. That's going to be the #1 setup. And as a matter of fact, let me fix this screen a little more so you guys can see better. Okay, so understand that that's the key right here for this build. After 90, if you're a big man and your job is to do standing dunks after you grab a rebound or you post someone up, and we're going to get into post control in a minute, but you post someone up, you spin on them, then you do a standing dunk. My center is 6'8". I have standing dunk above 92, a 92 as well. I have hardly no push control. I still do a drop step on people and dunk on them in the rec. Okay. After I get a rebound, offensive rebound, I'll do a spin and do a drive and dunk on them. And I have a 92. And my badges aren't fully maxed out. They're on silver and gold. Actually, I'm lying. They're both on gold right now. But you can go even higher if you're really about this life and you really want to try to take over. You can. Okay. But the point is, I don't think it's worth 99 for any build. I know you're 7 foot tall center trying to dunk on everybody. I don't think it's worth it. Keeping it down at a 92 will give you gold, and that's more than enough to activate fast twitch at a very high rate. And when these people like 2K Labs, shout out to them, they're not sponsoring me, I'm just giving them some love. They'll do tests on the fast twitch at some point. You'll see how correct I was. Hall of Fame is not going to be worth the actual attributes. Okay, so 92 is the #1 spot for standing dunks. And then now we're going to kind of play around with this a little bit, because post control is connected to close shot and standing dunks and mid ranges. So we have too many attributes to talk about with post control, and I'm going to have to open up this thing a little more so you can see mid ranges as well. And we're going to discuss it all because it is a part of the game. Okay, so having a 92 standing dunk, let's just say, right, and you basically want to be an inside big, let's just make believe. So we're going to put some post control, and the first thing that I say about post control is a 64. It's not a lot, guys, but it gives you drop step, and it's not a lot, but it's bronze. Okay, that is the beginning. If you want a little post control and you want to be able to do a drop step like I do, a 64 is good. Okay, you don't even need this. You can do post drop steps without it. But to activate better effective, drop steps, that's the way to go. Okay, now we're gonna turn this up and make it even higher. And the next number that I have, and I have all this written down as far as like the exact numbers that I like personally. I won't stop until an 84. Okay. And the reason for this is you have drop step on gold, and then you have, which I have to close this screen up for a second, post spin technician. This is another, it's not a drop step specifically, but it is the post spin. So you're in there and you're going to do this. And this is extremely powerful this year. So having it on gold is going to be more than enough for you if that's the only attribute values you have. All right. That's critical. Now we're going to go up a second and turn this up even more. And what we want to pay attention to is, where do I get that Hall of Fame drop step? Okay. Guess what? I'm not going to get it. It's not going to happen until I get to 95. There we go. So we're at 95 drop step and post spin technician. 95 is the best value for your buck overall. That's as far as you want to go. Unless you're trying to get unpluckable, and then you can go crazy with that, but that's as far as it goes. You got unpluckable on gold just from turning this up. So pay attention. Okay, this is where the build gets tricky. If you're a post player, depends on what style. You can be the inside post player who's a big man just trying to mash in there and basically drop stepping and jumping in there to get some easy dunks. Or you can do the opposite. And the reason why I had mid-ranges here is because they play a role in the actual badges that you see here. For example, post phenom, a very critical badge, is probably one of the most important. This right here is going to change the game for you. Guess what? I need to have a very high mid-range. And guess what? I can only upgrade this when I get to a 71. Is it worth it at a 71? I want it higher than that. If I'm going to post people up and try to be a Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Carmelo Anthony, all these post players that do mid-ranges, I want a 79 at minimum. And of course, understand that this is a finishing actual thing, but this is a part of finishing. Okay, so having a mid-range at 79 gives you gold, and this is a critical, guys, gold post fade phenom. Okay, and it does upgrade other badges as well, as you can see right here. Dream Shake, all of this is for the post control. But guess what? I'm not done. I'm not done, and I'm not finished. I'll like 86 if I want to be a dominant post player. Guess what? I can have Hall of Fame Dream Shake and post fades. All right, that's going to be critical, and that right there goes into my build as well. But now we're going to rewind and slow this down a little bit, because there are two ways. So if I drop this down, I can drop this down very heavily into an 85. And what that does is I still have my Hall of Fame post fade phenom. Okay. And that's going to be critical. And that's a different way to play when you're finishing, but it is a part of finishing because post control is just as important. Now you're seeing standing dunk. I can drop this down. We don't need to have this high for the actual post control, but it does help if I'm trying to spin drop step into a dunk. But the same thing goes for close shot. Okay, now this is where I'm going to end the video in a minute, but appreciate y'all if y'all stood here. I hope I earned your like, comment, and subscription. I'm going to teach you the trick right here. You got close shot, standing dunk, and post control as best friends. If you put close shot up and you have post control high, you're going to dominate that way. Or you can do the mid-range version, which is the Kobe Bryant. There's two different styles: mash in the paint, inside big, or the other way around, where you're just focused on the mid-range and you can do it that way. And that's two cool ways to play. And again, with the values that I'm giving you now, helping you understand how it's all connected. Remember, strength and vertical play a role in finishing as well. For example, if I wanted fearless finisher, I need to have high strength, and we're going to put fearless finisher up. Let's just max it out. You see how finisher is still not even upgraded? Guess what? That's my fault because I did not put strength up. The moment I put strength up, you're going to see fearless finisher start to upgrade. Okay, so understanding at a 67 strength, I'm getting Hall of Fame fearless finisher, and that's going to help some of these badges. Do I need to have a 99 layup? No. Guess what? I can drop this down all the way to 96 if I wanted fearless finisher. It's a great badge to have, especially if you're going to be finishing a lot at the rim. It's going to help you absorb contact and get some layups, converting them still. All right. So that's just a breakdown to help you understand. This has been a long video, but I'm trying to go into detail and help you guys thoroughly as we go forward. I hope you enjoyed that. And yes, we have other videos for shooting, playmaking, defense. Go check them out right now. See you on the court.